When you're making a sequel to a movie that came out 22 years ago and your CGI isn't as good, there's kind of a problem. With a plethora of franchise films released every year, there are always good ones and bad ones. The biggest shocker to me out of all of these over the past several years is the 2015 box office juggernaut Jurassic World. With a massive financial take of $1.6 billion worldwide and a 71% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, the film was a huge hit. However, I can't think of a film more undeserving than this one. Now, I need to start by saying I am a huge Jurassic Park fan. I love the original film and the book. The 1993 film is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's great. So needless to say, I was excited to see this movie when it came out. I can't think of many movies where I was more let down leaving the theater than I was when I saw this movie. Because of this, I have taken it upon myself to unearth the truth about this film and show the world not only everything that is bad about this movie, but how it could have been great. The main reason I have so many issues with this movie is because to me, it is the epitome of everything wrong in Hollywood these days. What I mean by this is that there are 5 common problems that abound in mainstream movies today. They are an overabundance of fan service, weak endings, poor writing, an uneven or weak message, and weak characters. I'll be going through these 5 elements and examining exactly how Jurassic World suffers and fails in these areas. First is the problem of an overabundance of fan service. This has become an increasing problem in Hollywood as more and more movies are relying on nostalgia to sell their films. Jurassic World is no exception. This idea of appealing to people's nostalgia has the potential effect to wash over people and get them to see past a lot of actual problems with the film's quality just because of how much they love the original material. This movie does not try to do anything new. In fact, it tries to be the original movie in a lot of ways. This one tries to copy the original's format to a T. Everything from a stereotypical hero figure to 2 kids, a love interest, an overconfident executive, a guy who wants to extort the park's potential in a way it shouldn't be. There are even several scenes that are either ripped off of the original
Turn the light off! Look!
or that give heavy nods to it. It is sequences like these that really dig into our nostalgia, and it seems that the people making this film knew theirs wasn't any good. And so they figured that the more references and nods to the original that they threw in would somehow make us appreciate this one more. It's a classic red herring, where they try to get us to love their movie by making us think about a different one entirely. Now, before you get all up in arms by saying that Star Wars The Force Awakens did the same thing, I have this to say. The Force Awakens did rely heavily on its original movie to sell a lot of things. It did rely on nostalgia in many moments. However, Force Awakens managed to do things that Jurassic World did not. Force Awakens had interesting characters that I liked and that I wanted to learn about. It offered the promise of new characters, new stories, and new adventures. But it still managed to succeed in other areas, and it is those same areas where I feel Jurassic World failed. The struggle with this film's ending isn't so much on its climax alone as it is on the setup of the whole thing. For some reason, the pacing of this movie feels slightly off. The build-up just doesn't seem to be as well put together, so by the time it happens, you never really realized this is what you were waiting for. For instance, in the original film, the whole driving message of this movie is this aspect of nature finding a way. From the very get-go, we see examples of a lack of control, allusions to the ending of the film, and other such things to build up the triumphant return of the T-Rex and the people leaving the island. There is a consistent theme and a consistent message that we can follow, and every element builds upon that message. Contrast that with this movie, and the main theme or message is pretty unclear. we don't know what it is we are supposed to be waiting for. So by the time the mosasaur jumps out and eats the Indominus, we aren't cheering. We're just sort of relieved it's over. This leads me to my next problem. I think this movie is strange in how it resolves its problems. So the original film touches on themes of control and how nature will find a way. Here in this world, we have learned to control nature. The only time we run into problems is when we try to mess with the natural world by creating some sort of hybrid. It is here when we find that the only way they are able to reestablish order is by disrupting the order they already created. They release the dinosaurs they already have control over in order to stop the chaos that they don't have control over that came about by accident. So what is this movie really trying to say?
You need to call this mission off right now.
You're right on top of it.
Call it off right
You
now.
are not in control here.
That line is the theme of this movie, or at least it should be. This idea, however, is never fully developed, and so we are left unsatisfied by the end, not knowing what it is we were supposed to learn. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was part 1 of my Jurassic World analysis video. Part 2 will be up shortly. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe so that you can join the watch.